I've noticed that a lot of artists nowadays work on white canvases. But what are the advantages of a toned canvas? What is imprimatur, how to apply it, and what the experience of the old masters tells us? All this in today's video. My name is Nick, this is my art channel, and let's get started. Imprimatur is a thin transparent or semi-transparent layer of paint that is applied to a pre-primed canvas or wooden panel before painting begins. Why is this necessary? Well, imprimatur solves several important problems at once. First of all, it removes the whiteness of the canvas, which interferes with the perception of tonal relationships. We cannot make white even whiter, but the presence of a mid-tone allows us to move both toward shadows and toward light, creating an unlimited spectrum of values. As you can see, that's exactly what I am doing right now, applying titanium white to make the light areas even lighter, but that would be completely impossible if I were working on a white canvas. Secondly, the underpainting unifies the entire painting into a harmonious color whole, which is very important. Perhaps the most important advantage of the imprimatur is that it creates the effect of the painting glowing from within, an effect that would be simply unattainable when working on a white canvas. The fact is that in the traditional method of multi-layer painting, the layers shine through, creating complex optical systems. This effect can be compared to the refraction of sunlight in colored stained glass. It is thanks to this technique that not only the effect of luminescence is created, but also a sense of depth. And this is exactly what draws our gaze to the works of the old masters. By the way, speaking of the experience of the old masters, studying their works shows that they all used imprimatur in their paintings. Leonardo, Caravaggio, Rubens, Titian, Velasquez, and this list goes on and on. Here are a few examples of unfinished works by the great Leonardo, which show that he used a warm, brownish translucent imprimatur. Caravaggio, on the other hand, used a very dark base in some of his works. By the way, I talked about this in my video about his technique, which you can watch here. So, what colors are best to use for imprimatur? Let's look at some of the most common ones. Warm earth tones are usually used. They dry quickly, which is great. For example, yellow ochre, raw sienna, burnt sienna, raw umber, sorry, I don't have this paint right now, and burnt umber. These are the most common colors, but you can also experiment by mixing them together. The main thing to understand is that the color of the imprimatur determines the mood and tone of the entire future work. Just keep this in mind when choosing a shade. And now I will show you how I apply the imprimatur myself. It's a very simple and quick process. We will need oil paints, turpentine or any other quick drying medium. For example, I use a white spirit based solvent, and a large brush. I apply the paint directly from the tube onto the canvas, which saves time and keeps your palette clean, by the way. But jokes aside. Then I add the solvent and begin to spread the paint evenly over the entire surface of the canvas. As you can see, I mix the colors directly on the canvas. Of course, each artist has their own approach to this stage of the work. Some apply paint with rough random strokes, but personally I prefer an even and smooth toning, leaving no brush marks. To achieve a smooth, even surface, it's best to work across the entire surface of the canvas in different directions. Top to the bottom, then left to right. And again top to the bottom, then left to right. Just several times. That's what I'm doing now, you see. I am sure that after you prepare several canvases in this way, you'll find your own method, the method that suits you best. As you can see, there is nothing complicated here, but it is of great importance for future painting, really. The only thing left for us to do now is to let our canvases completely dry before proceeding to the next stages of work. The drying process takes an average of 3 days to maybe a week, depending of course on the medium you used and the weather conditions. The sun, for example, greatly accelerates this process. Well, that's it. I hope you found this video useful, and as usual, I wish you all the best and see you in the next videos. Bye.